This is, excuse me, a damn fine cup of coffee. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Every day, once a day, give yourself a present. Don't plan it, don't wait for it, just let it happen. It could be a new shirt at the men's store, a cat nap in your office chair, or 2 cups of good, hot, black coffee. Like this. A present. Like Christmas. Oh, man, that is the spot. Nothing like a great cup of black coffee.
Good morning and welcome to the Coffee with Chris show. It is Thursday, July 23rd. Yeah. It is the day, my last day of my 30s. So that's fun. And I'm having all of the feels about it. But, you know, here we go. We're getting ready to go right into, let me move this a little bit, right into another phase of my life. So, new decade. Good morning, Anita, Kyle. Good morning, Rick. Yeah, so I did not technically oversleep. So my sleep has been really all over the place in the last couple of weeks. I've been dealing with a very pretty intense insomnia. And so where last night I actually didn't sleep, but the night before I did not. So like I'm still kind of all over the place as far as time. However, I did wake up this morning at 7:30, tried to get this show together because I couldn't figure out exactly what I wanted to talk about. You know, the news is the news and it is all over the place and there's shit happening. And I wanted to talk about some things in particular so that we can have some conversation around it. Also, yesterday was me not sleeping on, like, from Tuesday into Wednesday was the reason why I did not do a show yesterday, because I fell asleep. I was up all night. So I did not, it's not been great with the sleep and the depression and all of it. It's not been great for me lately. So I wanted to continue this conversation. A couple of things. One, you can order, I've pre-orders, technically, yeah, pre-orders, for the Coffee with Chris show. The official new Coffee with Chris show mug is for sale right now. I just pulled the trigger yesterday and I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and order these mugs. See, Rick, I cannot take sleep aids because when I took sleep aids not too long ago, and I woke up the next day and I felt like I was having a panic attack. I had the shakes real bad. I couldn't get up. It was not great. So I don't really do sleep aids. It always is not great for me. So anyways, yes, you can order your Coffee with Chris Show mug on the website. They're $15 and it includes shipping. Yeah, also looking for website contributors. So anyone who is a writer, who is want to share performance videos, want to share photo stories or anything like that, please contact me, and I would love to have you as a part of the Coffee with Chris contribution team. So yeah, that was the end of that. Oh, August 3rd, I am leaving Facebook. I am no longer going to be doing this show on Facebook Live. I will be doing it on YouTube Live. There's a lot of reasons behind it. There's reasons about Facebook that I'm not super happy about. There's reasons with being able to expand my network and reach through YouTube, as well as the connectivity from YouTube to the website. So there's all these different reasons why I was like, I think it's finally time. I've been wanting to make this move for a while, but the website was the last nail in the head to be like, well, if this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing. So moving to YouTube, which means you need to go onto YouTube, make sure you have a Google login, like a Google address, like a Gmail account. Log into YouTube and subscribe to Coffee with Chris. That way you can get notifications for when it's up, and you can also comment when you're logged in. The technical side was not even the issue. Like, well, the technical side as far as like connecting it into the website. So when I finish doing the show, I actually have to download the show from Facebook and then upload it onto YouTube so that we'll connect into my website. Trying to connect into the website from Facebook is so complicated for no reason. Facebook takes even more ownership over your stuff than YouTube does. That was a big thing. I also need to get out of this network. I love y'all so much, and I love seeing y'all watching the show. I also need to make it bigger, and be able to reach a bigger network of people. I feel like I've been kind of stuck in this Facebook space with the same people, which is fine and great, and I love y'all, but like I want to get to more people and have some bigger conversations and things like that. So it's just about growing. Sometimes we gotta grow. So I want to start with some simple stories, and then we'll get into some of the things that I really am looking to tackle today. And the first story is about, let me find my notes. So as of like yesterday, a court in Canada rules the United States is not safe for asylum seekers. Now, if you've been paying attention at all, our passport is one of the weakest passports in the world right now. We can't travel anywhere. There's a lot of countries that will not allow us to travel. I think we're down to like 30 something countries that will actually allow us to travel to. And on top of that, with our social issues and economic issues here, people are saying we are just not safe it's not safe to be here. Which is saying a lot, considering that the United States was the space where people went to seek asylum, and now that is not the case. We are starting to move away. If things keep progressing the way they are, I feel like we're going to move away from being a superpower and sooner than later, which is scary for a lot of things. One of the perks of being a superpower in the world, in this country, is that we have not had a lot of conflict with other countries on our soil. We haven't had a military conflict on United States soil since Pearl Harbor, really, and technically 9/11. And even before then, the last major conflict that happened on United States soil was the Civil War. So like, you know, moving into spaces where we might be seeing some, you know, military conflict happening on our soil is the thing that scares me the most personally. I don't know about everybody else's what they're thinking, as you know, as we fall away from holding those big coins in the country. So like, or in the world. So things to keep your eye on. Things to keep your eye on. Pay attention to how the world looks at us. I'm telling you, it is a scary, scary, scary thing. Next story I'm moving into is, okay, so I didn't know a lot of this, but I saw this pop up yesterday. It says more music stars, and this is from BBC News. It says more music stars changed their unacceptable names. Now, at first I kind of rolled my eyes at this because, you know, and then I start reading this and I'm just like, people gave them these like musicians a lot of fucking space for, you know, with their names being the way they are. So like, I don't know, I feel some kind of way. One of the headlines in this article says out of place in 2020, which is just like that it was out of place before. And you thought that it was a cute way to express yourself through your, you know, your stage name. And then now today it's becoming an issue. Okay. So one of the things was, and this is a lot of this stuff is from the UK. So there is a DJ in Britain called DJ Joey Negro, white dude. Okay. The other one is, there's a United States DJ that goes by the name The Black Madonna, white person. And then we can go into like the Dixie Chicks and the Lady Antebellum thing and all of this bullshit. And it's like, I don't know. I feel some kind of way about the ways that the page has turned, that all of these things are now outdated in 2020 when they were really inappropriate a long time ago. But you know, people gave them a lot of space and a lot of lip service so that they could actually make a name for themselves in a very inappropriate way. And then now they actually get to be held up as admirable for changing their name. I don't know. I really don't have a lot of space for that. So, you know, things. So this morning I did get up and I wanted to see if I knew anybody that was in Portland that was awake. I have a lot of friends that are in Portland that are on like Facebook friends, but I do recognize that the time difference is 4 hours now. So I didn't think anybody was awake, but I have I have some interesting, I don't know if my thoughts are interesting, but okay, I'll just say, when I had been hearing in the background about what's going on with Portland because they're continuing to protest. There's still a lot of conflict between protesters and the police out there. The Trump administration has sent out federal agents, which no one knows what that really means. So we don't even know who these people are. Are they other police officers? Are they military? Don't know. A lot of these agents are showing up without any insignia, so like there's no clear organization or department that they are affiliated with, meaning like a police department, even Homeland Security, or any of the military branches or anything. So this is very odd and getting kind of weird, right? And beyond weird, it's like scary. So the reason why I hadn't given Portland, and this is my own bias around Portland, is why I didn't give it a lot of space, is that, and this is my fault, and I should have paid more attention. Portland comes off to me as a lot of left-wing white folks in a city that was built for white people. So I just I try. I'm like, okay, well then that's what y'all choosing to do. You guys want to go out and riot and protest and all of that stuff. Am I supposed to be thankful for white folks being advocates and allies? So that's been my own personal bias around Portland. Obviously, there are more people who live in Portland than just really crazy, kooky hipster white people. But that's on me, and I will own that. I will own that every day. That's fine. But it is getting really, and has been really, really extreme and very confrontational in Portland. I don't know what's going to transpire from this, because the conversations are kind of getting shifted, constantly around the reason why people are protesting, to bringing in federal agents, to it's all of these. It's a lot of combination of a lot of things that I think. What is this? Bianca, do you mean the mayor, or because the governor is the state, the mayor is the city? Is that it's not them? Yes, I did see that the mayor said that it's not them, and the mayor got pepper sprayed last night. I believe Seattle created Seattle created this like weird like Occupy zone and things like that. I don't know if that happened also in Portland. The barrier that you see here is protecting the state house, I believe. And what people are asking for is simply some reform for the police, and this is now escalated so much from asking for police reform. Which is also disheartening, because the fight to have police be accountable and to really take a look at the financials going into the police departments is so like, how dare you? And to the point where this is how this needs to, like, this is how we need to behave in order to like have something as simple as my tax dollars go to the local police and fire and all that stuff, and I would like to have some reform around where my fucking tax money goes to. I just want you to like wrap your head around the fact that we're having a conversation that should be like heard from the people who are paying the bills, and the response turns into this. And that is absolutely insane. So, with Trump trying to send in these like federal agents to all these cities that are, what the president considers hotspots for these protests, because Baltimore is on that list, and I don't think are people even outside like that right now, because it's really hot. And let's just be real. And what he's really doing is sending these federal agents out to cities that are heavily known as progressive cities, or have a large population of leftist Democrats, and he is trying to wage like this very interesting divide between people who are on the progressive lane and those who are on the conservative lane, and everything is being blamed. I mean, like, even down to COVID, everything is being blamed on one side of the aisle or the other, when it's not a partisan conversation. Issues with the police is actually an everybody conversation, but those who feel offended by it are kind of like keep kind of flipping the script to making it a partisan issue. And it's like, actually, the police kill too many people. I mean, really, the ways in which the police kill black people are dehumanizing and absolutely disgusting and wrong. The ways that police abuse and lock up black bodies. I want to see the statistic of how many people are arrested, how many people are arrested for resisting arrest, and how many people of those people are black. I want to see that statistic in particular, because when you see why people are being arrested and you see like drugs and, you know, robbery and stuff like that, I want to know resisting arrest. I want to know those statistics. The number of stop and frisk things that have happened across the country, and being arrested simply because you questioned being stopped, and being deemed as resisting arrest, which either ends in a violent arrest or even death multiple times for black people. That is the kind of numbers I want to see, because every time we see the numbers of how many black people are killed by police, I feel still that's too ambiguous. I want to see how many people are killed by police simply because the police did not want to explain themselves. But that statistic probably won't ever exist, right? Because there's a lack of accountability from the police, and there's a protection around the police for them to not have to be accountable. Anita asks, do you think if we actually defunded the police that this would keep going as headstrong as it is? I think that it will be a really strong start, considering the history of police in this country. The violence and the oppression that comes from law enforcement and the justice system on black people, that would be a huge fucking step forward for us to be able to start having other conversations. And the other conversations that I feel like that we should be having are the things that are actually coming up more so than the conversation of this big one. So like when we talk about the microaggressions that are happening around the country, which is these artists who name themselves something that is highly inappropriate, and we talk about, you know, our football teams and sports mascots and things like that, you know, those things. But like, I think that we need to, and I mean, I hear the argument for those little things need to happen so that the big thing can happen. I just really want to see the big thing happen. You know, I really want to see and live in a world where black people can actually go and live their lives without being afraid to like just go to the store in a very real way. And we aren't there. And then there's a real fear. And then, you know, we can go down, I'm about to go down another rabbit hole in a second, but like, you know, you know, whatever's going on in Portland, and I really hope that the people who are out there protesting, I hope that you're keeping your eye on the prize on this. And I don't know, Portland is going to be it's going to be the test to see what these federal agents out on the street are going to look like. And let's see. And you know what, Mason? I actually heard someone said this a while ago, that these agents might actually be like prison guards and like, yeah, like these random people who are in like low-level law enforcement from around the country. You know, Rick's like, martial law is coming. Just keep looking outside. Make sure people are stopping at red lights. That's what I said. Are we still stopping at red lights? There's still hope. If we still have some common sense of like social responsibility for one another, which is like something as simple as stopping for a pedestrian who is walking across the street, or stopping at a red light, or, you know, using your blinkers. We can go down that one, but you know what I mean. So if we're still like, people can actually drive and use some basic social responsibility around that, I feel like that's my gauge. That's the gauge. And I think that that's what some of these conservatives want. I think these people actually want us to fight this out. This idea of fighting this out to say whose country this is, kind of a thing, that's weird. Right, Marylanders using a blinker, you know what I mean. It's weird that, our why do we have to fight to say who this country belongs to when y'all are the ones who brought us over here? Like, nobody has to be here, and then, like, we are now systematically set up to actually, like, have to function in this country. Because I was watching a video about how to actually leave, and now we're at a point where we can't. There's nowhere for people to go. We have to figure out how we're going to work this out and live together. And for the most part, we are doing it. We are actively living in the same space together. It's just that why is it that because I'm black, I am, like, not allowed to have the same opportunities as someone who's white? So I just have a few, huge issue around that. I don't think it's going to be a black against white situation. I think it is going to be just very simply these hard thinking right-wing conservatives and the extremists, the people who are really pro-Trump. A lot of them are people who are subjected and really tangled into an entanglement, having a deep entanglement with conspiracy theories. It's not even, I don't even think that they are, I think that they think that what's happening is playing into all of these weird conspiracy theories. And then there's the rest of us, the left, and there's a lot of conservatives that are on our side as well, or a lot of people who are Republicans who were just like, this is crazy. They don't buy into the conspiracy theory. They're just Republicans. So it's not necessarily a right. It's the far right against everyone else. Like, I don't think it's just left versus, I don't think it's going to be that simple. I think it's going to be the very extreme far right and the rest of us. And these people are really eating into a lot of crazy conspiracy theories. A video to watch is John Oliver's conspiracy theory video on YouTube. Because yes, there's tons of Republicans. Like, look at the Lincoln Project. They are raising so much money for Biden. Biden is getting super PACs from Republicans all over the place. Like, it's really serious. Like, this, if Trump doesn't pull a Hail Mary of a dictatorship type situation, then there's no question that he will be out of a job in January, right? Like, it's already kind of set in stone unless he does some really crazy shit. And if he can create some kind of civil unrest in this country by putting out these federal agents and really escalating, it's QAnon and then some. It's so much. There's so many of them because they're trying to, break down QAnon right now. So, like, they're all spinning off to all these different conspiracies. But think about, like I said, watch John Oliver's video. It's very interesting. I don't know why my stream is coming over really horribly today, but it's okay. So then there is, I lost my place. Oh. So, really, I don't know if Trump has the capacity, or by sending out these federal agents and creating these very, like, intense, violent, civil unrest situations. He's, like, enhancing these situations. It puts us in a position where, or puts him in a position where he might be able to pull some fucking weird law, with civil unrest, and to try to keep himself in power. That is the thing that I am terrified for. So I don't know. Keeping an eye on things. Keeping an eye on things. Okay, so I'm gonna move to the next thing. And the next thing is the thing that I seriously want to have, and I guess because it speaks close to my heart, especially where I am right now and like how I've been feeling lately. There are some things that actually kind of showed up in my brain to, how things look, and so let's talk about Kanye. Um, I want to talk about Kanye for a lot of reasons, and I want to talk about it in a way. I want to talk about mental health, and I want to talk about mental health around being black and being a public figure and being a black man who is a public figure who is suffering with some severe mental health issues. And when Kanye announced that he was going to run for president, I was very serious. I was like, let Kanye do Kanye and stop giving him so much space around this. There's a reason for that. We all know that he's sick. When you feed into someone who's going through a bipolar episode, and as the public, it's going to just spin into a whole, like, it's going to be worse than it needed to be, and there's got to be a point where the shame shows up, the failure, the regret, all of that shows up. The more and more, we give lip service to and entertain him running for president. I knew that was a thing. I could feel that. That's how I would feel if I am going through some like serious shit. Like, don't just let me go through my shit, So, really thought that he dropped out. I read something that said that he dropped out of the race, and then he ended up having this rally. He shows up to the rally. He's not wearing a face mask. He's wearing this bulletproof vest, and then he has a complete emotional breakdown in an interaction with one of the people at the rally, or in response to one of the people at the rally. So apparently Kim Kardashian, who was getting like seriously hazed and all the shit all over fucking Twitter for a while, because they were like, well, what the fuck are you doing? You're sitting here posting pictures on Instagram while your husband is like completely having a mental breakdown. So apparently Kim Kardashian was trying to get a hold of him and get him hospitalized, which now that is spun into Kanye wanting to get a divorce, and he doesn't trust her anymore, and all of this shit, which all makes sense, right? That's what's going to happen. But then before I continue down this path of how I feel about this, and then I see this. So it's like, there's this meme that's out here. It says, if you see things from these people, they don't speak for me. Here's Kanye and Candace Owens and all these other like hoobity hob, black folks, who have these very conservative and moderate, libertarian-ish, and even in some extremes, they are pro-Trump and all of this. They have all of those, we call it viewpoints, right? Which also is always used up against us, because you've got these very loud people who are pro-Trump, and it's just like, well, this black person likes Trump, so I don't understand why y'all can't like him. That bullshit, like, that's bullshit. What we're actually fighting for at the end of all of this, beyond police reform, beyond, all of these like problematic, celebrities using problematic names and the pancake lady and all this stuff. I think the thing we should be fighting for, and I believe that's what we're fighting for, is the opportunity to actually be people. I don't have an opportunity. Black folks don't have a lot of opportunity to be Republicans. We're always called Uncle Toms, and I'm not a Republican, but if you are a Republican, you're called Uncle Toms, you're called this, that, and the other. And the reason for it is because there's no space to actually have those feelings around the what's the word, the non-social side of politics. So there's like financial politics, and then there's the social side. So a lot of the social issues are the things that we talk about the most when it comes to politics. We talk a lot about the racist stuff and and homophobic and transphobic things that are happening in politics. That's always the hot button topics in politics. It's the easiest thing to grasp onto because it's something that identifies with you as a person. And with the amount of discrimination and racism in this country, it prevents people from actually having different viewpoints other than the same viewpoint. And when you have someone that is mentally ill, who is struggling, and all, like, the response is that he doesn't speak for us, that's not fair. I don't believe that that's fair. I believe that this person has no space to actually be someone with a different viewpoint and having a mental illness. There's no space for it for him, because we live in a world that we need all of us to be on the same exact side, because it's the only way that we can move forward. And we don't give a lot of space to people to just be people. I don't have to agree with Kanye. I don't have to agree with Kanye. I don't have to agree with Candace Owens. I don't agree with any of those people. I don't agree with Nick Cannon. I don't agree with these hotep ass queer black men, like the Dr. Managos of the world. I don't agree with any of them. However, I also think that they should be allowed to have some kind of space to figure out their own way at the same time. And where white folks have a lot of space to float between the parties and figure out their own paths and make decisions that better them as a person, as opposed to trying to make decisions that are going to better all of them. When white folks, y'all go vote, you're not voting what's the best for you. I mean, you don't have to vote what's best for your community. You get to vote for what's best for you. You get to vote based on who's going to give you the best tax break. You get to vote on who's going to do the best for your neighborhood and your, whatever school your kid goes to. You have that space to vote very independently for however it best fits your own life. Black folks and minorities have to vote what's best for our entire community. When you say, like, being, we use words like anti-black or anti-LGBTQ, and when you are unable to have any space outside of that, makes it more oppressive, actually. And I know we have to fight we have a lot to go, and I have a lot of fight before we can get to a place where we can have those freedoms of difference of opinions and being able to, like, exist beyond our community and as an individual. We're just not there yet. And when I read this Kim Kardashian's thing, which I'm about to read to you, about Kanye's mental status, and asking the press to give him some space and give their family some space, I think about myself in that as well. When a black person especially, and I speak mostly in the space of where I come from, so I'm black, when we can't have mental illness because it discredits us so deeply that anything that we've ever done that was worthy or great in the world is all taken away from us. And I get that, because right now I am probably as crazy as I've ever been. This is one of the worst depressive places that I've been and in a very, very long time. And this is one of those depressions that is like working overtime to like make me be as isolated and hating everybody and trying not to burn everything down right now. Like that is where my brain is. It's not a fun place right now. And as I'm trying to navigate through this, you know, and having outbursts or like being angry or not being able to see things clearly, my brain automatically goes into this place where there is going to be no forgiveness when I come out of this. And I can only imagine what that feels like for someone who is a celebrity, of not feeling like they have the space to have mental illness, and especially not in the same space that white people get to have. Point blank, period. Like Kanye is just going to be crazy, and he just knows that. He knows that everybody's just going to see him as a crazy person. So, I mean, just things that I just want to think about this in a very different way, as opposed to just like Kanye's crazy and he's here for Trump. Like, well, Kanye is actually going through some shit right now. So let's have conversation around this mental illness. So let me pull up what Kim Kardashian said. All right. She says, as many of you know, Kanye has bipolar disorder. Anyone who has this or has a loved one in their life who does knows how incredibly complicated and painful it is to understand. I've never spoken publicly about how this has affected us at home because I'm very protective of our children and Kanye's right to privacy when it comes to his health. But today, I feel like I should comment on it because of the stigma and misconceptions about mental health. Those that understand mental illness or even compulsive behavior know that the family is powerless unless the member is a minor. People who are unaware or far removed from this experience can be judgmental and not understanding that the individual themselves have to engage in the process of getting help no matter how hard the family and friends try. We as a society, missed one. Okay. I understand Kanye is subject to criticism because he's a public figure and his actions at times can cause strong opinions and emotions. He is a brilliant but complicated person who's on top of the pressures of being an artist and a black man who's experienced the painful loss of his mother and has to deal with the pressure and isolation that is heightened by his bipolar disorder. Those who are close with Kanye knows his heart and understand his words sometimes do not align with his intentions. Living with bipolar disorder does not diminish or invalidate his dreams and his creative ideas, no matter how big or unobtainable they may feel to some. That is part of his genius, and as we have all witnessed, many of his big dreams have come true. As a society, we talk about giving grace to the issue of mental illness or mental health as a whole. However, we should also give it to the individuals who are living with it in the times when they need it the most. I kindly ask that the media and public give us the compassion and empathy that is needed so that we can get through this. Thank you for those who have expressed concern for Kanye's well-being and for your understanding. With love and gratitude, Kim Kardashian West. And I understand that people who are dealing with mental health, like if you're going through a complete episode, bipolar episode, there's also like this understanding that you are bipolar and that you are expected to take care and do the things that you need to do to make sure that when you do have episodes that there are safety nets in place for you to be able to get yourself back. So there is accountability held on Kanye's part. And yes, that's true. He's a human being. He's doing things. His words have weight. And he should have and need to take the precautions and actions to make sure that he is in a situation where he can have these episodes that aren't deeply affected, are affected in society as whole. However, I think that getting to that point of being able to self acknowledge and being able to care for yourself is also a very stigmatized process for Black folks, because there's a level of acknowledging that you're sick. And then you have to go through therapy and you have to admit that you're sick and that what you're going through. And it all feels like weakness. Trust me when I say it feels like weakness so hard every week when I have therapy and I have to tell somebody my bullshit. You know, it feels like I am incapable of dealing with my shit. And finding that space and getting to that's a whole other realm of being, having the freedom to explore oneself as an individual without the pressures of expectation because he's a Black man. So I'm gonna read what B just said. B just said, I'll give them space to figure out things for themselves, but the unquestioned influence and blind following of people that speak specifically against the best interests of the community as a whole is my issue. It would be different if Black people were given the benefit of being seen as an individual, but we're not. Yeah, we're not there yet. It would be different if these people were speaking as individuals, but they're not doing that. They can't. There's nothing. There's no way that, because we aren't there to a point where we can be individuals. So there's no way to speak as an individual, right? And they're doing the Bill Cosby thing and shaming the community for not believing the things they believe. And I think that that's a process. I think all of that is a product of the ways that we navigate right now. I think that it does it on both sides, right? I feel like if we're not able to be individuals, which means we don't speak as individuals, but then we're always trying to like, what's the word? God. Shit. You're always trying to, what was the word? Where's the word? It's right there. But we're always trying to get people to like understand and believe us, right? That's like this thing. And especially when you're talking about people, when you get to that tier of the Candace Owens people and things like that, where the more people who listen to you and believe you equals actually security and money for you, like then it becomes more, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I mean, that is actually just where we are as this, like, as our political, the way we do politics with, in respects to social issues. Because that's just how we all talk like that. We all do. And it's even worse when you're talking in against the best interests of the community at whole. So it's like, campaign is the word, and campaigning for followers. But I feel like we just aren't at a place where we can actually talk beyond the social issues, because the social issues in this country are so fucking severe and deep that there is no space for individual conversation or leadership. And so that fight and arguments it's going to exist until we get past that. And I think that that's where all that comes from. You shouldn't shame someone because they don't believe the same things that you do. We do that all the time though, right? How many Facebook arguments you get on somebody because I just had I saw a whole thing about some dude who used to go come to the Eagle and Night Show. He says that he says there's only men and women. I'm not calling anyone they. Like that was his declaration the other day. And so then we have this whole conversation around this. And then at some point I'm just like, what? Why are we arguing about this? Like this person, obviously, I should not waste my time and space on it. And, and the thing is that everyone was advocating for one side of the aisle or the other. Now it's transphobic shit, right? And this is amongst queer people. So we're, this whole conversation back and forth about this is the right way and this is the right way. There was no sense or space for understanding of letting people just exist as people. We're still having these extreme, polarizing conversations with one another. And there's a lot of undoing and work around that in order for us to even just be able to be like to have any kind of like conversation in a normal fucking way about anything. And it bothers me that that's where we are, and that's where I don't know. I feel some kind of way about I don't care if I agree with you or not. I don't care how fucking crazy you are. I don't care what you're advocating for or whatever, because shit's so fucked up. I just cannot watch, especially I can't watch white people shame black people for feeling however they feel. I don't care where you feel at. White people don't have any space to say shit. That's my big thing. You know, white supremacy is the ultimate abuser of the world. And the shit fucking lands and fucks us up in so many different ways. And I know I won't ever see what the world could look like after this, whatever this is. And I hope that it does get beyond this, you know, where we're not living under this ideal of what we're supposed to be. Because at some point, the only person you're supposed to be is yourself. And there is no expectations outside of that. But we can't get there until a lot of shit is done. A lot of unpacking. But anyways, as I move on, and thank y'all for watching the show today, make sure you like, share, and follow the Coffee with Chris show. Also, make sure you get on YouTube and subscribe. Go on to coffeewithchrisshow.com to buy your Coffee with Chris mug. And yeah, those are the things that I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching today. And tomorrow, as tomorrow I show up as in a different decade of my life. Crazy. And I guess I will see y'all after 30. Crazy. Hold on. Get out. Okay. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all on the other side. Have a fantastic day, y'all.